Hi, welcome to my YouTube. Now in my last video I introduced you to my pair of twins. This time I'm going to tell you how I made their furniture. Now the reason why I'm telling you rather than showing you is because I made these furnitures a few years ago before my channel. Now when you buy a CSA VZ-58 compact, it'll come with a black vinyl handguard, black vinyl grip, and a standard metal side folder. If you've seen my video on how to paracord one of these, you know I'm not a big fan of these because they're really uncomfortable to use and they are quite sharp. Now the grip also, it may look like a Fab Defense, but it's not. It's a cheap version. Okay, as you see, the Fab Defense has a bottom lid. This one that came with the compact did not. And you can see it's not as well defined as the Fab Defense. So that's why I decided to make brand new furniture for my twins. Okay, I'm back. Why don't we start from the front and work our way to the back? Let's start with the handguard. To remove the handguard is very simple. There's a pin right here. This is what the pin looks like. Hammer it out with a skinny punch and then pivot the handguard down like that, and that should come out. And this is what the plastic handguard looks like. Okay, there's no metal retaining plate in the CSA. Okay, and this is what I did with the beaver barf. Okay, it's actually not, it's quite simple. What I did is I cut off to this level, I cut straight across, and that's it. I removed that part, and then I cut off this front end, this U shape. Then I cut a little square piece to go under the U shape right there. Then I glued all the pieces together by using crazy glue. But to make it fit properly, I used the Dremel drum sander, and it's a lot easier to do that. And then clean it with solvent and then use crazy glue, and it works just great. Here, I'll show you what it looks like going in, like that. Slip in the front end, okay, and then push like that. And of course, put the retaining pin in. Okay. Next one is the wood. Again, I had a whole piece of wood, a VZ-58 handguard, and I cut that. But this time I cut it to the front, and I used a Dremel and hand file, and I carefully file, copying this U shape. Okay. Didn't have to do anything to the front, to the back I mean, or the top. All the work was done to the front. And oh, this little piece, I decided to take a little bit from the front of the handguard, and I glued it, clamped it down, glued it, and then reshape it so it would have a little bit of character. And then there's no stain on this. I just put a spray of varnish on this, and that's all it is. If I can find the spray varnish, I will tell you what it is. Oh, actually, I'll put it in the description. Okay, that takes care of the handguard. Next is the grip. This grip is very easy to remove. All you need is a long Allen wrench. Stick it in, and you just turn. It's a short screw. And that's all it is. Now, I decided to, since there's no beaver barf grip that's this long, I had to actually make these right from scratch. And what I did is I went to my local finishing woodworking shop, and I bought an inch thick hardwood. I think these are, they look like oak to me. And I just bought a strip of 1 inch thick and maybe 3 inch wide. And I bought a strip, and I was able to make 3 or 4 grips out of them. And you can see they're all different shapes. Okay. Now the way I did this is actually quite simple. I don't have 1 inch thick strip of wood, but I'm going to use this as an example. What I did is I took the original beaver barf grip, which is, as you can tell, I don't know why they make it this small. I used that as a template, and I outlined it, and this is where it stopped. And then I add about 3/8 to 1/2 inch beyond that, which comes up to this. Yep. And then I put a rod through this, and then I outline where the screw should be running what angle, and then I cut out the outline, and I used a Dremel drum sander and a hand file, a rasp, and a palm sander, and I did it to this shape. Okay, and then I bored a drill press from my son, and then I made sure that this is vertical and then centered, that the hole is centered. As you can see, I've marked the hole, and it went right through. This is how I mark it, and I have to make a little bit of grooves in here to account for the for the trigger guard and for that rivet. And again, this one has no stain in it, and it's just spray clear coat on it, and that's all it is. Now this one, it's a little bit more work. Of course, you can tell that there's stain in it, and what I did is I used a red stain, and I put a light coat of red stain on it first, okay, and then wipe it out and let it dry, and then I use like a black electrician tape, and I cut like little triangular designs. Doesn't have to be all, you know, all the same size. It's little strips, triangular design, and I sort of taped on it, and then I put another coat of red. Okay, but this time I didn't quite wipe it out. Let that dry, and I put some more sticky electrical tape just to get that more of that pattern of the beaver barf pattern, and then I put some more red coat. There's about three stains of red on this grip to get, and then I spray painted it with varnish. So that's how I tried. This is actually oak, and I tried to rather than beaver barf, but that's what I try to mimic. And the construction is identical to the oak grip I made. So that's the this is a fake beaver barf grip, because they don't make beaver barf in this length. Okay, moving on to the folder. The folder is removed by a screw in the back. This happens to be a slot screw. These two are hex screw, but it's the same. You just unscrew it to the back. You use a bigger screwdriver than this, and it should just come out. Like that. Okay. So what did I do to make these? Basically what I did is I took one of these, the wood VZ-58 wood stock, and a VZ-58 beaver barf red compressed wood, okay, and I combined those with one of these. So again, I went to my wood finishing place, and I went straight to the back, and I was talking to the woodworker, the supervisor, and I paid him $10 to split one of these open, and he split it right to the center on both of them. Okay, and then I had to take this and make some modification. What I did is I had to remove this side plate all the way around. Okay, here I'll show you what it looks like. I have a sample. So it goes from this to this. Okay, so yes, I remove all the way around this little bend in it. Just took that off completely, and I made this out of it. Okay, and then also I had to put a little bit of bend in this just to make it fit like this. Okay, so basically that's what it looks like. Okay, when this is all cut up, it's hollow inside, and you just make the little bit of modification here to fit this part, and this will just fit in the back without any problem. Now as far as the swivel concerned, I just put a nail right through to hold this in. Okay, so if you can imagine, this is hollow, and I made the modification just to the folder, and then I placed it in here, and it all held together by epoxy. I epoxied it and it held it together, and this is the results. It's narrower than the original. See the difference in width? It's narrower. And you can tell the two sides were re-glued. And there was a hollow here. I put another piece from here, and I filled that in with epoxy and that extra piece. Now, there's no work to be done on the left front, but there is some cutting you need to do because of the hinge right here. You need to do that on the right side. Okay, but basically it is the same side folder, except now my cheek is on a nice smooth side rather than a sharp end. And they still have that swivel. And you need to cut this piece off because you still want to get your hands, when it's folded, you want to get your hands on the grip. When it's folded like this, you should still be able to reach the trigger and fire it. So even when this is folded, that's why you need to cut this piece off. If you didn't cut that piece off, it would be very difficult to reach the trigger with this still in place. See? That's why you have to make a sharp triangular cut right here. Now basically, yeah. Now this is what it looks like with the wood stock. See the triangular piece that I had to cut off, and that's the reason why I did that, is so I could reach the trigger when it's folded. Now with the wood, obviously it's not that hollow, so you do more work. You need to basically chisel more wood out, basically to allow the stock, the length of this, you need to chisel, I guess maybe some of it, not that much, because it's hollow basically here, and you're following this part. Okay. Again, this is narrower than the original stock. Not much mod has to be done to the left side of the stock. Some to the right because of the hinge. And that's what it looks like when it's actually folded. It'll be folded like this. When you're ready to fire, you'll open like this. Okay, and there's no filling that needs to be done because generally this side is all solid wood. And again, no stain needed, just sprayed a varnish on this. Oh, and I did need to blacken this area just to give it more, I guess, a depth to make otherwise this metal piece in black would be too skinny. So I made this a little thicker, looks better. Okay, so that's generally it. That's how I made the furniture for my twins. The retro beaver barf and the clear wood, solid wood. And thank you for joining me, and please subscribe.